Now that we're familiar with colors, we are going to talk about two new selectors, classes and IDs. In the last lecture, we used h1, h2, p, and body selectors to select the corresponding HTML elements. But now, suppose we wanted to style only one of the paragraphs, not all of them. That's why we have classes and IDs. We can attribute class or ID names to elements, and then use these classes or IDs to select them in the CSS code. So let's do that. First, I need to tell you that the same class can be attributed to as many elements as you like, while an ID can be used only once inside each HTML document. So let's see what we can do here. So we have three paragraph elements, if you remember. It's this paragraph here, and also the author name is also a paragraph. So now let's say we want the author paragraph to be bigger than the main text. So we have two text paragraphs and we can use classes for that. So let's go back to our index.html file. Let's just close this. And so here in the p tag, just add class, and then choose a name. It can be anything. I will call this main text. And then the same thing with this second paragraph. This is also main text, right? So main text. Now there's only one paragraph for the author name, so we can use an ID here. So it's just, as you can imagine, ID, and I will call it author text. And now let's go back to our CSS file. And here down here we can now add the new selectors. So to style the paragraphs with the main text class, we'll add dot main text. And you see on our web page with this live connection to brackets that there's like a blue square around this paragraph and the other one too, but not the author paragraph. So which means that we selected these two elements. So what I can do here is to say that we want these paragraphs to have a justified text align. Text align justify. And now down here we have the author paragraph, if you remember, and it's an ID. And to select that ID we use the hash symbol and say author text. Alright, and as we said, we want this to have a larger font size, like 22 pixels maybe. Font size, we'll set it to 22 pixels. And you see, it's bigger now. And yeah, 22 pixels looks just right. So nice, it works. I actually don't need this one anymore, it's kind of redundant, because in this rule I already said that I want these two paragraphs to be justified. And since this one doesn't need to be justified, I can just delete this and nothing will happen. Just clear some lines, save it, never forget to save. And yeah, I think that's it for the coding. Now using IDs is actually not a good practice because, as I said, they can only be used once. So usually we use classes for all our styling, even if we have only one class with a specific name, because we will never know what will happen to our code down the road. So let's just quickly change from ID to class right here first. So I want this to be a class, and then I will also change it in the CSS, and now it's back to normal as we want it. Great! This was an important lecture because we'll be using classes all the time. Next up, I will teach you another very important thing in CSS, the so-called box model. See you there.